I'm going to start this video off on Jonathan, asking my viewers, who do you think Jonathan really is? Now, if you go to the comments that Jonathan left for the past couple of videos, now there's two what are obviously 12-second AI created videos. So anybody that wants to start a YouTube channel is going to be making different videos. They're going to get out, do like the video I'm doing here of just me talking. They're going to get out and whatever their interest is. Let's say they're into ghost hunting. They're going to be, looking up haunted places, going through with their phone, with their camera, whatever, making videos. Let's say they're into automotive. They're going to show themselves doing, various automotive tasks. Working on different equipment. Or let's say they're into nature. They're going to be hiking mountains. They're going out to. I'm going to get to that in a few minutes here. But anyway, I'm asking my viewers, who do you think Jonathan really is? Because Jonathan can't be the image, AI generated image that's in his videos. I'm just curious. I could be completely wrong. Could be just somebody that posted two AI generated videos and left with that. I don't know. There are videos, there are channels like that here on YouTube. Now there's one that was like Lisa a couple weeks ago. Just was living, not living to the extreme, living. She made that one video and hasn't followed through on it. So I don't know what happened to Lisa. I guess maybe she got cold feet or something. I don't know. And for Lisa, God, I wish you well. I wish she'd make some more videos. Maybe you just ran out of ideas on the first video. I don't know. I guess people do. Let's see. I got my list here. I'm going to comment on three different YouTube channels that I didn't watch the videos in full, but I was kind of familiar with the subject matter. First one was the old cars in Cuba. Now, when Fidel Castro took over, I don't know, was it late 50s, early 60s? Anyway, he, the U.S. didn't like him, so they banned all. There was American-run casinos going on down there, and of course, these revolutionaries didn't like it. And I'm kind of on the fence. I kind of see why Castro, overthrew what was going on down there, because he thought his people, weren't doing so well. But he chose to form a communist government, So I don't agree with that. But Castro could have chosen a slightly different path. I don't know. I just it's kind of a mixed bag, kind of mixed feelings on Cuba. And I kind of hope that someday, we'll lift the sanctions, we'll normalize things, and we can make Castro a friendly nation, because they're like 90 miles off the Florida coast, and you don't want your 90-mile away neighbors pissed at you. You want to kind of open up and make friendly and stuff. But anyway, Cuba, I'm hoping they dump their communist socialist country for a capitalist country and make it run for the benefit of their people and stuff. That's what I'd really like to see, because it's they, from the videos I've seen, people going down there are very, very interesting, very, very friendly Latino Hispanic community. But anyway, they're showing these people to keep these old cars. They were made much simpler and much easier to maintain. Where they're still going 60, 70 years on. And modern cars are, the engine is crapping out. I'm talking about stuff made within the past 5 or 6 years, where the engine is crapping out after 50,000 miles. Just the way that the manufacturers are doing things anymore. The older cars are easier to. The stuff, they didn't have the computer on it, stuff, it's got points and a 4-barrel carburetor or a single-barrel carburetor. That's easy to keep going, and that's what the mechanics down there are doing. They're keeping them going. And I say, hey, more power to you. The older stuff is easy to fix. Newer stuff, you can make it more fuel efficient, but you pay a price in being able to you got to keep replacing parts to keep the newer stuff going. Next thing I'm going to cover, let's see, there was another video. I only watched part of it, and I wish I'd watched all of it, but my phone cut out, and this stupid phone, and sometime I need to set up a different phone, but at the minute this phone's all I've got. But anyway, there was a lot of these the number of these old Indian or Native American first citizen settlements that are still, part of them are still there. They're in ruins. A lot of them are archaeological sites. They're preserved as historical, but they'll let you go through there if you're respectful to the property. They'll let you go through there and video them and stuff. There's a handful of these throughout the valley. I need to figure out where some of these are, and they're of interest to me. I love our first citizen culture. The people that were here hundreds, maybe thousands of years ago, and I think my viewers would probably be interested in it. If some chick wants to join me in one of these, if you're going through there, or if you're into museums. if you're into a nature preserve, that type of thing, hey, let me know, and we can go through there and make some very interesting videos from some of those. But anyway, I need to get to some of these settlements that, archaeological sites that I can go through and video, and I need to figure out where some of those are. I'm gonna get to my pickup here at the very end. But anyway, the last video I'm gonna cover now. I've watched a handful of these. Now this does not include me because I'm not part of this. Now I've seen a number of these. Most of the ones that I've seen are in German. Now these people, they're Gross and Opa. Great grandpa was a member of the Nazi Party, and I mean that's just part of history. That was, I mean, there's two classifications of people. Now, the first classification, Gross and Opa, Gross and Oma, were fine, decent people. They were just kind of caught up in a system that, they had no choice, to cooperate with the Nazis. And the second class of people are the totally evil, the really, really bad people. There's only a handful of those. And if your great grandpa was a totally evil person, I can see why you might not appreciate him being a family member. But that's history is what it is. If they were totally evil person, you can say, well, that's who they were. I'm not that totally evil person. I don't know, but just because your kinfolk were a member of the Nazi Party doesn't necessarily make you an evil person. That's just what I say. Actually, there's a handful of videos like that. I'm thinking they're probably doing these more to get it out there. I'm thinking they see this as I'm trying to think of the word, cathartic, a healing process, exposing it to, like if you take a festering wound and take the bandage off and open it up to open air, it can kind of heal and kind of get that fester out of there. I'm thinking that people see it in that way. They can say, look, that's who they were. That's not who I am. I'm growing up at a different time, a time when people think differently. Like I said, this is not my history. I'm an American. I'm a multi-generation American. My father, my grandparents, I don't know how far back I can trace, but it goes way back before Marx, before the Nazis or Karl Marx or any of those people. Well, I don't know. Karl Marx is 200 years ago, so one of my great ancestors could have grew up under Karl Marx. I don't know. Maybe they did like Karl Marx, or maybe they hated Karl Marx and Marxism and said, hey, I'm leaving that. I'm coming for America. Kind of thinking that may have been the case. I haven't traced my family back that far. I can go back about 3 generations, and other people trace it further back. Anyway, let me see. What have I still got on my list here? A place. Kind of sound like I covered that. Some chick wants to do a collab video with me. We'll sit down, we'll figure out what we both find interesting, what we both have in mind, and if we can come to some interesting, I'm trying to think of the word, but if we can come up with something we both find interesting, we'll go do it. If anybody's got some ideas you want me to do, put them out here, whatever they are, put them out here. I mean, I'll read the comments. If it's anything dangerous, illegal, immoral, I probably won't act on it. Well, if it's anything illegal or dangerous, I'm not going to do it. Immoral, it's got to depend upon what it is. Let's see, what have I covered here? My pickup. Now, I'm going to drive around for another day. I got to order a few parts, get everything here. And, once I get a handful of parts, pull it back apart again, there's several things I need to do on it. Pull the transmission back apart, replace a few parts. I want to get everything, just plan to do it maybe like over about 2 days. I don't want to have it down for like about 2 weeks as I'm playing with it. I kind of figured my way around one of those 4L60Es. Somebody else has got one. If you got the money, just take it to a shop. If you don't, I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to go through somebody else's because I'm not very good at them. If you want me to help you get, if you want me to help you get one out of a wrecking yard, yeah, we could do that. If you're kind of limited, because you can find one at a self-service wrecking yard for about $250, something like that. Take you about 2 or 3 hours to yank one out, another 2 or 3 hours to put one in there. Because I did that about 5 years ago. The last one I got out of the wrecking yard. Now what I had in there it was stuck in second gear and reverse didn't work. So me and a friend of mine, this was early in the morning. Me and a friend of mine, we caught up with the wrecking yards that had a half price sale. We went down. It was actually my birthday. Went down, got one. got a transmission out of a wrecking yard. Drove home, let it cool down a couple hours, put it in. Then I had to go off and finish another job. I had to replace a motor on a hood vent up in Litchfield. So yeah, that made it for a pretty full day. Yeah, that's probably the last time I'd attempt something like that. Let's see, work. I got them. That's the last item on here. I did one call last Saturday night for a lady here in Avondale, and I've got 2 or 3 jobs. I'm gonna call and see who still needs me, because I said that's over the past 2 weeks that I didn't have means to get there. One, I think, it's over in Tolleson. I think he still needs me. I'm gonna call him just to be sure. When it's an air conditioner, I'm gonna give it a little bit to warm up, make sure it's warm enough to accurately check it, because I don't like to work on air conditioning when it's 60. I like to work on it when it's 90. I'll get a video from up on that roof. If I go over there, he called me Saturday, and I said, well, I'll get over there Monday. So I've got 2 up in Litchfield. I need to go up and get my ladder, because I left my long ladder. A friend of mine drove it over there. I just left it at this particular business. I need to grab it. That's like a $400 ladder. It's a nice heavy ladder. That's a $400 ladder 5-6 years ago. So it's probably more than that now. That's what I gave Home Depot for this ladder. I'd kind of hate to lose it, because it's a nice heavy duty ladder. Yeah, I'm sure it's still there, because I'd done that about 3 months ago when I had the problem with my oil leak on my engine. I left it over there. It's everything. I may put up everything for up in Litchfield for tomorrow, because there's a wiring job that I need to see if they still need me to do. Because it's been 2 weeks, so they may have found somebody else. Hopefully it's still there and I can still do it. Okay, love y'all. Let's keep life exciting. Let's keep life spooky. That's for Colin Brown. I'm sure he keeps his life spooky. And for everything, for got one special chick. Leben Sie wohl. Vaya con Dios. Das Vestania. Das Leben ist ein Abenteuer. Das Leben ist nicht einfach. And c'est la vie. And for that, for the French chick, au revoir. And for that Italian senora, the Italian senora, ciao.